Hi, good afternoon. I'm Maurice Epps. Today I'm going to be talking about Antonio Miguel Noriega Moreno. He's a Panamanian, born in 1934. He was an informant for the CIA starting back in 1950 until, it was from 1950 until the late 1980s. America is known to have a lot of criminals basically within their organization so they could get information on other countries so we could get the smaller criminals that's going to be bigger criminals in the future. So we spend millions, maybe even billions of America's hard-earned money on these guys, and they don't do anything but they become bigger criminals later, and they use the U.S. to their advantage so they can make their empire bigger. So Noriega, he was a politician, soldier, dictator, and Panamanian's largest drug dealer till this day. He served in the, as you know, he served in the Army, in the PDF, which is known as the Panamanian Defense Force. He received his training at Fort Gillett here in the U.S. and also PSYOP training at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Within the CIA back then, former President George H.W. Bush, he was the director back then, and Noriega had strong ties with him, so he knew he could get away with a lot more because George Bush didn't want the public to know that he was involved with the criminal of Noriega's status and of his stature at the time. Later on, the tension and rise to our invasion of Panama, the operation was called Operation Just Cause, which led to Operation Nifty Package. During Operation Just Cause, what led up to it was Noriega, he allowed the first election to occur in Panama in 16 years. So even though he made that happen, he also dictated who he wanted to be the leader in the country. So he tampered with the votes and he put one of his top men as president of that country. The U.S. wasn't proud of what he was doing within Panama and France. He was also dealing drugs in France, and he laundered more than $3 million while he was the dictator of Panama. Some incidents that occurred that led in the U.S. forces invading Panama was there was some soldiers, some U.S. soldiers just walking down the street. They used to get harassed. One guy was shot and killed. A Marine, him and his wife, they were harassed, and his wife was verbally threatened to be sexually abused. So that's when the invasion of Panama happened for U.S. troops to go down there in the late 80s. Then Noriega, he didn't surrender then. He didn't surrender until Operation Nifty Package. And that's when he was arrested and he was taken to Miami, Florida to be arrested. He was tried and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison, held in Miami, but he fell under the Geneva's Convention, which the U.S. have, and it treated him as a prisoner of war, which his suite became known as the presidential suite. So he was living pretty good in prison. Also, France, they also wanted to arrest him for laundering and his involvement with the illegal drug trade over there. So they asked for Noriega to be extradited, which means official process whereby one nation or state surrenders a suspected or convicted criminal to another state or nation. So France, they sentenced him to 30 years in prison. And also Panama wanted to try him also, and they also sentenced him to 20 years in prison. By the time they got to Panama, Panama's sentencing, since he was so old and up there in age, they just sent him to house arrest. Recently, within the last month, he was actually released from France and sent back to Panama to be on house arrest to serve his terms. So today I spoke about Noriega and how his involvement with the CIA and his drug laundering and being a dictator led to his arrest and in the invasion of Operation Just Cause and Operation Nifty Package. In the audience, I have my grandmother, my cousin Brandon, cousin Savannah.
Oh, I need to get them in the picture.
Just a quick glance.
Okay.
Cousin Martin and my aunt Carolyn.
How y'all doing? Hey, I'm Savannah.
There's some money for you.
This is Auntie Carolyn.
You so
Doing the most.
You got some money for me.
Hi, Martin.
And this is Susie. And that's Roscoe.
Ma, you doing the most.
Cool. At this time, I'm gonna ask you guys, do you have any questions or anything that you would want to know further about Noriega and his conviction? Yes, Aunt Carolyn.
So I can't remember. Is he still alive? Or is he dead or what?
Yeah, he's still alive. He got extradited back to Panama late last month.
Oh, and how long he's going to serve there?
He got 20 years house arrest.
House
Oh, I
arrest.
was just about to ask that question.
Yes,
So does he get to live in his house under house arrest?
yes,
or
he get to
just-
live in his house.
Oh, okay.
Now with the money, I don't know. I think he had to pay it back. If I can remember correctly from my reading, I think he had to pay it back. So he still had a pretty good lump sum of money, and he had to pay France back the $3 million he laundered from them. Yes, Savannah?
Is he married?
He had a wife, yes.
Okay. Did she die?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That's not Carolyn.
Did President Bush ever admit any wrongdoing with dealing with Noriega?
No, he did
His
not.
regime.
He basically took, to cover up for himself, that's how Operation Just Cause happened, so we can invade Panama to cover up from his knowing of what Noriega was doing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Did he have any kids?
Noriega has kids, yes. How many, I don't know.
Okay.
And now to conclude today's...
Grandma?
Grandma, yeah. You
So I'm not taking a nap. Good class, yay!
Hey, stop it.
The red button.
Oh.